Welcome to Lightroom, and today we're going to take a look at how to reset menus over here in the Develop module. It's a little bit convoluted and a little bit difficult. Also, if you work in Adobe Camera Raw, the adjustments or settings are exactly the same because Adobe Camera Raw and the Develop module inside Lightroom Classic are exactly the same. All right, so we have this image here. And we will make some small adjustments, and we're just going to do some random stuff. It's not like I'm trying to make this look better. All right, so we've made these adjustments, and now we're going to decide we don't really like what we did. So how can we reset everything? Well, it's very simple. There's obviously a main reset down here. You click on this and everything goes back to normal. But I'm going to hit Command Z to undo that. What happens if you want to just do one of these settings? Like, let's say we just want to do shadows. Well, you can easily just grab the little slider and go back here to 0. It's kind of a little bit time consuming and slow. There's also another way. So if you want to reset a setting, if you double click with your mouse on shadows, it will put it back to the default value of 0. Once again, exposure, I'll double click that, it will go back to 0. Now we'll make some just odd adjustments here. If you have multiples in one area, so let's say we didn't want to affect our white balance or any of this stuff down here. We just want to adjust, set everything back here to 0. You can double click the tone and that will automatically set everything in this section back. Just like up here, you would double click white balance. Whether it's temp or tint or any of these settings will get set back to their default. And that works for anything in here. So if we were to come down here and make some adjustments, if I double click on just texture, it's going to just double reset texture. But if I double click on presence, it will put everything back to the default. So we'll just switch on over here to another image. I'm just going to slowly come in here and just darken this a little bit. We're going to lower the contrast and open up the shadows just a bit. And then we're going to switch on over here to the adjustment brush. So the adjustment brush is somewhat similar. So you can see when you go into the adjustment brush, by default, whatever your last settings were, it's going to bring those up. So the last time I did it, we've got +12 and +0.52. So I could simply come in here and just use that. So I could come into this and paint in this area, and that would obviously work. But that's not what I want to do. In this case, I want to actually darken the sky. This is brightening everything. To set everything at a default, you're going to double click effect. If you want to reset just one area, you're going to just double click in the highlights. So I'm going to come over here to highlights. If I just double click that, it's just going to reset highlights. However, if I come up to effect, double click, it's going to set everything back down at 0. So then I can come down here, I can lower these two areas, I can come in and I would paint in my sky. All right. Then when I decide I want to make a new one, I can click on new. The way this works is it brings up the last settings for the last time. So let's say I wanted to brighten this area, which is the opposite. The quickest thing I can do is just double click effect and then open up my shadows. And then I could come in here and brighten my shadows. So that's how you reset menus inside of Adobe Lightroom and Adobe Camera Raw. If you have any comments or questions, you can leave those below. And as always, don't forget to subscribe.